Transitioning. Hello, my beautiful little humans. How are you all doing? Having fun? Sunday. Sunday fun day. The best of the Sundays. Well, I lie. Everyone knows my opinion on Sunday by now. It's it's the most in-betweeny day of all the days. Is it a good day? Is it a not good day? I don't know. It's a bit of both. So, I thought today, it'll probably be a bit shorter. There's a Holo Live thing coming out later, so I probably want to jump off and watch that regardless. Might be back later for some Cyberpunk. We never know. I wouldn't wager on that. If I've not put something in a schedule, I normally just stare into space and forget all about it. Also started playing Star Trek Online again the other day. Because, you know, Star Trek-y stuff. And it was fun. So, I might end up playing that all night. Anyway, I've still not set up the for feedback, the hear my own voice thing in my headset. I should probably do that because it helps. It helps. Steel series. Yeah, you all good? I presume you're all good. I'm sure you're all good. Sonar? I don't know what this is. All this weirdness. I don't need any of this nonsense in my headset. What I need in my headset is where do you think it is? Auto mute gain, Bluetooth nonsense, audio. Needs me to click a button. Live mic preview, side tone. I don't know what any of this is. It says that I need more software. Do I need more software? Click here now to install from the main window. Why is nothing simple anymore? It used to just be, I'm sure there used to just be a button, and you'd click that button, and then you could hear your headset. But it's gone, so I don't know where it is. So let's forget it. Let's forget it. It doesn't matter. People have made their software, their hardware so stupid that it doesn't work. And all these things want you to log in as well. It's like, log into your NVIDIA account. Why? I just want drivers. Just give me the drivers. I don't want any of the rest of your nonsense. Just give me drivers. Make my thing work. But we want to know who you are. Why? I don't want to know who I am. I'm a slime. I live in a pile of hay. To be frank, now it's not hay. I live in a pile of cardboard boxes. But, you know, you know how that goes. So I thought, anyway, today we'll look at some of the ideas that we had around the old keep on the borderland. So I've got my printout of that here. And some of the ideas that we have around that. I've also got Isle of Dread in here, which I'll probably start running at some point. And I've got to, where is it? Yeah, this one. Castle Caldwell and Beyond. I need to hole punch this and stick it in here so we can run this. So this looks exciting. I think this could be good fun as a starter for 10. And because one thing I want to do before I go into the E modules is have a nice stock of characters. A nice stock of characters that can survive, right? As opposed to having to like randomly make level 2 and 3 characters. Just have lots that have run through earlier modules. And the other thing I was thinking about today was around that whole, and I think if we go through you saw it a lot in Dwarrow Deep, right, where the health pool of starting characters is your primary limiting constraint as to the amount of time that you can spend in the dungeon. Well, the initial health pool slash number of characters slash your ability to come up with ever increasingly silly reasons that new adventurers magically appear in the next room of the adventure. So, yeah, that's kind of a big limiting constraint. So really, I was starting to think maybe the main solution to this, I'm going to throw this tea bag away because it's going to make my tea too strong, and then I'll cry and be all po-faced slime as opposed to the beautiful angelic slime that you're so used to. Look at that face. Yeah, like that. So I was thinking, how about you just gave starting characters more hit points? It seems like a pretty straightforward answer to some of my problems there, right? Because then you could just dive deeper and for longer, and not have to backtrack as much. But then on the other hand, then you wouldn't need the restocking. But then some of the restocking doesn't make sense. Anyway, keep on the Borderlands. Oh, the other thing I was going to do was go through how I go about setting up my foundry. So just for default starter. That's why there's no music yet, right? Because I haven't actually set up my foundry instance. So I was going to do that. So let's do that first, whilst we talk about other stuff. So the other week we talked about let's hide for capture, right? We talked about that's fine. This is fine. We talked about some of the elements that would be pretty cool and would make Keep on the Borderlands easier to run. But I also think that when we're looking at it, we also need to remember it's supposed to be a teaching device, right? And most of these B adventures are teaching devices. So when you look at them, they're like a bit silly, and they don't make sense in a lot of ways. So we also have to be careful not to remove that element, right? Where it is supposed to be a bit goofy and a bit silly, and it's supposed to help DMs think, oh, well, that's a bit goofy and a bit silly. I should do something slightly different. So how do we capture that? So some of the main areas that we were thinking about expanding on, I've put them in the thing, but faction relations, which is one that I looked at the most in my downtime. Improved more rumour tables, so we can look at writing that up. That's something that Dwaro did quite well. It had quite a beefy set of rumours. Making the faction play easier to exploit and not getting you in, because the Keep on the Borderland is very much you kind of take on the role of a special forces team raiding layers, as opposed to an adventuring party attempting to steal stuff. So almost it sets up kind of a kind of strike squad mentality in your player characters. The way it's built on paper, that's how that feels. Because there's a whole bunch of sections where you just get immediately ambushed, and that's like, oh, you're in combat now, and you've woken up the entire layer, and the question: are you attempting to teach your players to run away? If so, that's cool. We should put that in the notes for this section, right? Here we're attempting to teach players that it's perfectly acceptable to run away, and sometimes your adventuring doesn't go well. But I think a lot of these early adventures, I think one of the things that they fail at is that normally your characters are going to go into the adventures, your players and their characters, the player characters are going to go into these adventures with no money, right? They're going to spend every last gold piece they possibly can on armor, on weapons, on caltrops, on iron spikes, on wooden poles, right? They're going to spend all their money. And unless the characters manage to make some money in their first excursion, they're going to have real problems surviving, like full stop. And unless you want to be teaching the players, well, you need to save 10 gold pieces in order to like pay for food and inns and whatnot on the day to day, whilst you're recovering from your first failed kind of throwaway into the first 2 rooms of a dungeon. You're going to need to do something. Of course, we've kind of some of the modifications I've made to how I'm playing. So like the addition of the luck dice. That's kind of limited some of this, and some of the ideas around having more hit points just to start with, but then gaining less as you level up from a hit point perspective, right? So maybe like wizards start off with 12 hit points, maybe. It's a lot of hit points, but they only go up by 1 hit point per level, right? And then a warrior starts with like, well, if we're going to start a mage off on, say mage starts on 8, warrior starts on 20 hit points, and theirs goes up by 3 hit points per level. Then by the time they reach kind of like 4th, 5th, 6th level, they'll be on par, and then they'll start to lag behind the curve. But I think at that point you've got a large enough stockpile of hit points, and you should be clever enough in the game for that not to matter. Or at a point you go, okay, at level 5 you just start rolling 5d6 hit points, 66 hit points, etc, 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 and adding and rolling your hit dice normally with this kind of so that's something I was thinking about. Which, and also on the flip side, it increases the time that characters will spend in town recuperating if they can go deeper into the dungeon, sacrifice more hit points, because remember, hit points is a resource, so sacrifice more hit points and then come back out, and then spend more time in town, giving us more scope there. So yeah, and of course now I need to go visit the little slime room. So let's quickly add in the little RPG table. No, let's pause here for a second, and I will be right back. Okay? Okay, good. That's nice. You'll come back, right? Okay, good. Bye. And we're back. Cool. And so yeah, and we need that on there as well, so I can see that. Cool, top bananas. So let's first of all just go through my normal setup for modules, right? So I normally have the AI descriptor. So this is a ChatGPT tool. I tend not to use it a huge amount, but sometimes I'll just want a quick table drawn up and I can't be bothered to make it myself. And so I'll use ChatGPT to do it. Then, if I'm doing anything with hexes, I use this for better hexagonal tiles. It helps match up the hexes to the hexes, so the hex grid to the hexes better. I then will normally have, what else do we normally have? We normally have chat images, so that allows us to paste images into chat. We normally have clipboard images, so this allows us to copy and paste images in general. We used to normally have the compendium folders, but that doesn't seem to be very useful anymore. And this is just like default stuff. So dice, so nice. So this gives us nice 3D dice options. Dice tray, because it allows us to easily select dice if we need to. If I'm going to be doing a lot of stuff via the Foundry UI and not on paper or not in Tailspire as I've been doing, I would use Dungeon Draw. I'll include it just so I can show you how Dungeon Draw works if you've never seen it before. All these are maps, so we don't need any of those by default. I'll sometimes use Forian's quest log. I'll include it because it's kind of cool. And if we're thinking about kind of like, let's think about putting an entire module kind of into this instance for our revisited keep on the Borderlands. So let's have that so we can track some of these quests. Freeform sheets, not going to use it for this, but you could. But freeform sheets lets you use a JPEG or a PNG as a character sheet, and you can just write on that. So a little bit less interactive, but I feel it helps with theatre of the mind and kind of pulling you out of some of the mechanics that exist inside of the actual system. So that's pretty cool. I often use it for systems that aren't supported at all in Foundry. GM notes, GM screen. Sometimes I'll use these, sometimes I won't. So I'll frequently use GM screen, particularly since GM screen also has a player screen. So if I'm playing a new system or a system that, well, even like OSE or BECME that has lots of useful tables for players, so like stronghold construction stuff and to hit tables, all that kind of thing. I mean, the view from, my view, particularly around most games, but we'll just talk within the confines of kind of Dungeons and Dragons at the moment. My view is that the players should have access to all of the knowledge, right? Because it makes it more interesting. You don't have to do as much guesswork. I feel. Now, if I was doing something like Delta Green, right? I want you to understand the mechanics. That's all fine, all that, but I don't want you to really understand what the monsters are, because that's for surprise, right? That's for horror. You've got to let go of some of that control. But I don't mind if you know what a magnum pistol does 2d6 worth of damage. Whatever, I don't care. It is the Black Ichor indicative of Monster X or Cosmic Horror X or Cosmic Horror Y. Well, I don't want you to know that, so I won't tell you, and I won't include that in any information. Whereas with Dungeons and Dragons and the fantasy settings where you're adventurers, most common monsters that a player knows, so orcs, goblins, trolls, ogres, even like lichers, mind flayers, etc., etc., giants, etc., etc., etc. The characters will have some. I believe the characters will have understanding of what they're getting involved in when they meet those monsters, and so I don't mind the players meta that stuff because the characters live in the world and are adventurers, so they will have some knowledge of these things anyway, because they don't want to die, and they talk to other adventurers in taverns and in inns and ale houses and all the rest of it. So yeah, that's my thinking on that sort of stuff, right? So I'm perfectly happy sharing that information with players. But GM screens, GM notes, we'll set it up anyway, just because we'll see if we'll go over whole hog on here. Hex token size. So this is another app for another module for making hexes work better. GM notes just puts a extra tab on everything that lets you put notes on that only the GM can see. It's kind of obvious. This is something I more use for Traveller, the inline web viewer, and games like that. Some of the games that have really good online resources that I'd like to pull into the game space, but they don't have direct plugins. Though Traveller does have some very cool plugins, and we will play Traveller, I think, at some point in the not too distant future. As well as Dune. I want to do Dune before the new Dune comes out. I might start doing that next month. Does mean buying Dune, but although I do have the old Dune system as well, so the one that they built the Game of Thrones RPG originally was built on the same system that the Dune system was built on. I can't remember what the system is. I presume it was bespoke. Other things that I will have on, so I won't have inline web viewer for this, but it's an option. These are cool. I've used them for lots of different things. So I have done a few different UI versions for the way that I run games in Foundry. One of them is more kind of like a if you've ever played Eye of the Beholder or Bard Tale or games like that, Wizardry is another one where Monsters of Might and Magic, Masters of Might and Magic, whichever one is the RPG. Like that, so you've got like little boxes with the characters' faces, and then you put the monsters in a kind of a plane, and they're front on. So I did that for a while, and then of course the classic way. And I was saying that, yeah, because the special animations you get from JB2A are really cool for that kind of thing. I'm sure they're cool for lots of other things, but when I'm doing that kind of, it's good for when you're doing stuff with players. I think solo, it's a bit too much hassle. Let me roll that for you. Again, really only necessary for when we're doing things with players, and when we're doing things heavily inside the Foundry UI, which we won't be, probably. Module Management Plus. I don't know if I like it or I'm indifferent to it. I think I'm probably indifferent to it. So monks, all this stuff used to be in one, and it used to be far easier when most of this stuff was in one app, because it used to be in Monk's little details, a lot of these things. But I'm not going to use Enhanced Journal because I find it slows everything down. The one that I always use is Monk Scene Navigation, because so when you're in scenes normally and you click on it, it brings up the create scene, test, close. When you click on it, it doesn't take you onto it. It just stays on one, and you've got to right click and view scene. I find that irritating. This is a default scene. We'll be deleting this. But Monk-C navigation means that you just click on stuff and it works. I like multi-face tiles because this allows you to do kind of like funky. Normally when I'm doing UIs, launch pads and stuff like that, I'll use multi-face tiles. So it allows you to have like when your mouse goes over the tile will change. When it leaves, it will change to another one. You can add glows and all sorts of stuff. So that's cool. Multi-level tokens, I have that. So again, it lets you have different faces on tokens. I think that's what multi-level tokens is. Mythic GME, of course. So this gives me the Mythic tables. So I always have that one. Of course, because we're in OSR, we've got the Old School Essentials Advanced Fantasy for Foundry VTT. So this is a paid for module with all the advanced stuff in it. Then OSR Character Builder. So this lets you auto build characters. I'm fine with it. Helper modules. So this adds in a whole bunch of extra tools like torches that can be automatically burnt down and whatnot. This requires you to pay a lot of attention to clicking the right buttons at the right time. And as you've noticed, I'm not very good at that. Item shop, it's just a useful, nice to have. Now we'll have a pincushion. So this allows us to add items onto maps. Normally I'd use PMP, so just out of habit. I'm pretty sure that most of the features that were in PMP are already in Foundry by default. But just in case, I like the portrait box, but I won't have it turned on for this. So the portrait box just pops up your character's portrait in like a little box when you hover over it. It's kind of cool. Rollable table, yes. So this lets you roll tables by just right-clicking on them. Very useful. Scabbard Connect, select. Yeah, not interested in it. Share media, so not so useful when I'm on my own. But share media is the tool that lets you just put images into your scene. You saw it in my Delta Green setup, so you can set up like hot boxes, you can set up boundary boxes on the page and send images into them. So it's pretty cool, especially when you're doing theater of the mind stuff and you kind of like go, this is using it more as a UI. Sidebar window resizer, this is kind of essential, especially if you're doing solo, because it lets you change the size of the sidebar. I will normally use simple calendar. Sketch tiles are really cool, more useful when I'm playing with other people, but I'll show you that as well at some point. It's really cool for stuff like runes and going, oh look, you found this rune, I'll show you it. Small time and small weather. So this allows us to have random weather effects. I don't bother with soundboards. Again, I can barely remember to change the music track most of the time, let alone soundboards. Not going to happen. Storyteller's cool, not going to use it. So that basically gives you like a book UI that you can share with people, so it looks like they're looking at a book. So that's cool. And the one that we've been missing, tabletop RPG music. I use this exclusively for audio, for music inside of Foundry. Since I signed up, it's like the one thing I use. It's great. I recommend. Well advised. Good musics. Good times. Of course, I've got a Mad Cartographer subscription as well because I've got more money than sense. It's really great maps. This is also one of those things that I want to, move if we get into a good kind of cadence, which we're not so far. I'm rubbish. Unless I'm doing something on stream, I'm literally not doing anything at all. I'm just like sat here staring into space like a ginormous blob of indifference and inaction. But it'd be great to look at some of these maps and go, hey, this is a cool map. What adventure can we build around it, right? Um, and then really utilize some of these assets. Uh, and again, I think it's really interesting all the different ways that we can play. You know, because we've got the physical tactical maps, we've got the little plastic cutouts, we've got Foundry, we've got Tailspy, we've got Straight Theatre of the Mind, we've got all sorts of stuff that we can do. So yeah, I think it's fun. So I often have tile sort because sometimes I want to move the order of my tiles around. Um, and tile scroll is something that just gets triggered when I use certain maps. Let me go back a bit. Do I have yeah, like Bellywiki stuff often uses cool other side modules that I don't turn on, but they do. Um, uh, what else do we have? So I used to use stuff like token magic a lot, but I don't so much anymore. Token independence is more used by other modules, and it looks like it's not been updated in ages, so it probably doesn't work. Tokenizer, I use this a lot because this is something that I really wish they had in Roll20. Because you just take your portrait, you can find a nice portrait, stick it in. I mean, I won't do that. I try and use like mostly assets that I've paid for or are definitely free to use when doing streaming stuff. But I mean, when I'm not doing streaming stuff, yeah, I'm way more liberal with my acquisition of resources. Let's say, um, for better or for worse, because it's so hard to get like a large chunk of good stock images that aren't generative AI now. And at some point, I'm pretty sure that I'm just going to have to give up and just go, cool, I know that I don't agree with the way most of this stuff is sourced, but I need it. So, so we're going to get it. And we want weather control and weather FX. World Explorer is really good when you're playing. We'll enable World Explorer, we won't use it right now, and of course X card. So if I'm playing with randoms, I'll have the X card enabled. When I'm playing with friends, I don't, and I know that would outrage lots of people, but I've been playing with the same group of people for like 20 years, so deal with it. So yeah, I mean, I'd have this enabled if I was playing with people, but we didn't know, or new people in the group, or all sorts. But that doesn't happen because, as I said, I've played with the same group of people for ever. Save modules. Yes. And now it's going to tell us all about all the stuff. Right, cool. Don't show me this again. I don't need small weather. Small weather is not what I need. I can get rid of small weather. Let's get rid of small weather. Small weather is what I use when I use modern day settings because it gives me real weather results. So if I'm playing like Delta Green, right, and it's the 16th of August 1996, and I'm in Pembrokeshire. That will give me the weather, or a close approximation to the weather that was in Pembrokeshire on that date. So it's really cool, but I don't need it for this because this is fantasy, and unless something's happened recently and I've not noticed, fantasy be not real. So let's get rid of small weather. I don't want to turn off simple calendar. I think we can turn off small time, and that will be good. So this way I don't end up with two calendars, which makes me happy. I think these two are linked, right? I think these two function together, right? Yes, there we go. Right, Now let's go into the configuration for these, configure settings. This is ending up being far more of a so I won't do it here, of course, but normally in this you stick your API key in, whoosh, ting, off it'll go. Don't ever share that with people on the internet. They will steal your key, and they will cost you tens of millions of pounds. Where in my case, the most they could cost me is £10 because I've got a limit on my account that only lets me spend £10. I've never got anywhere near that. I think the largest bill I've ever had is 50p. And that was when I was doing lots of experimenting in Foundry with it. I will set it up though, just so you can see it in use. Chat. I mean, most of this. Well, let's do for this. Let's. Really, I'd like this to be inside of the world, but I'd need to know what the URL was. So dice, so nice. You can go in here. Set up your dice. Set up something nice. Nice dice. Theme so nice. The Astral Sea. That sounds nice. Oh, I like that. Blood Moon. Foundry Glitter Party. That sounds more like something I'd run for. No, they're not very nice. They're kind of ugly, in fact. Pastel Sunset. I think I like this one. Oh, that's very nice. Although I think all the numbers need to be a bit more distinct. Acquired tastes. Okay. What on earth is this? Oh, that's not too bad. I thought it was going to be truly hideous when it said acquired tastes. That's quite gaudy, isn't it? This would be a good set for vampire. But I think I like this set. So one thing I often wonder, because you can also, right, with this, if memory serves me correctly, if I went roll 1d6 acid, is it 2, or is it 1? Yeah. So if you know like the code of an existing dice set, you can set up macros to roll specific colored dice for it. So fire. Is that right? Dark. Is that an option? Oh, so that's one where there's clearly there's no option for dark. Acid, water. Yeah. See, so I'll roll a dice type. I'm sure somewhere in the system you can set all those up, but whatever. Dice tray. So the really cool thing that you can do here is override the system to give it weird dice. So one thing, the two most obvious ones here being Dungeon Crawl Classic. So if you see down there, we've got normal dice to start with. We hit Dungeon Crawl Classic. We've now got weird D30s, D24s, etc., 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 D16s, all that silliness. So that's cool. I find that really useful. That's another really cool thing about Dice Tray, is it lets you do that. It also lets you do the Star Wars dice, so that's cool. So yeah, generally, and it does Fate, of course. So let's just set that back to generic in case I forget, and I'm sat there going, what if my clipboard image? What my brown? What? What's that? Is it saying that I can't use clipboard image? Hold on. Let me hit the refresh button. Clipboard disabled. Your browser is not. Please check console. Well, that's irritating. I presume this is because it's not secure in inverted commas. Site settings. Let's just get rid of that. Because of course, I mean, I don't have it set up because it's only internal, so I can't be bothered. Clipboard blocked. Well, that's annoying. Reset permissions. Um, Bum, 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 bum. Chrome, trust local site. It's like, I'm trying to keep you safe, and I don't want you to be safe. I don't care. This is my home computer, and so I do not need it to be safe. Site settings. I'll faff about with it later. But everyone, it's like I was perpetually annoyed the other day because I'm trying to copy files across my computers, right? And nowadays it's so difficult. It's such a pain in the backside. Whereas back in the day, you just went, cool, I'll set up a share on my computer, I'll share it locally with a work group, I'll copy all my stuff across, and I'm done. Bob's your uncle. Or your Auntie May, right? Nowadays, I just gave up. I can't be bothered. such a pain in the backside. I don't care. It's like I don't. This is like I can reach out and touch this computer, but hey ho. It's like it's not secure. I know it's not secure. I mean, it is secure. I don't think you could get much more secure than this computer. I could take a photo of it. But what about people on the internet? Shut up. Mm-mm. 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 So this is obviously a new thing as well because literally the clipboard image has worked since forever. I can't be bothered. It's just going to be annoying. I hate modern computers. I hate using computers in the 21st century because the people that make everything just want to make my life more difficult. It's like, if we're making you more secure, you're not making me any more secure. You absolute, utter, and unadulterated plums. In fact, let me copy, paste. See, let me just do a snip. 1 second. New, snip, paste. So that doesn't work. But that works. This is why everything that people do when they claim to be, oh, we're making it secure. You're not, are you? You don't know what you're doing. You're all useless. So I can't copy and paste directly into the UI at the moment, so I can't show you that one. But I can copy and paste into the sidebar. So you know, why does one work and not the other? Who knows why? Because security people are stupid. That's why. Anyway, let's carry on. Configuring my settings. Mythic GME. So yeah, Mythic GME 2nd edition by default. I do have some decks, so we can add in some decks. Again, they've made... Oh, right, yeah. And because I can't use Compendium, or the Compendium doesn't work properly anymore, I'm going to come in here, manually create a folder for playlists. I'm going to move all my playlists from here into here. I'm going to move all my playlists from here into here. I'm going to move all my playlists from here into here. I'm going to move all my playlists from here into here. I'm going to move all my playlists from here into here. I'm going to move all my playlists from here into here. I'm going to move all my playlists from here into here. I'm going to move all my playlists from here into here. I'm going to move all my playlists from here into here. I'm going to move all my playlists from here into here. I'm going to move all my playlists from here into here. I'm going to move all my playlists from here into here. I'm going to move all my playlists from here into here. I'm going to move all my playlists from here into here. I'm going to move all my playlists from here into here. I'm going to move all my playlists from here into here. I'm going to move all my playlists from here into here. I'm going to move all my playlists from here into here. I'm going to move all my playlists from here into here. I'm going to move all my playlists from here into here. I'm going to move all my playlists from here into here. I'm going to move all my playlists from here into here. I'm going to move all my playlists from here into here. I'm going to move all my playlists from here into here. Again, developers just making my life more difficult. I don't understand why they did any of this. I think it's ugly. The background thing doesn't make any sense to me. It's all ugly. It's all annoying. I hate everything about it. Create folder, OSE, OSE advanced. So this is all the stuff that I do before I'm set up and ready to go. Fantasy animals, fantasy classes, fantasy. More stuff, 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 more stuff. Create folder, MISC macros. I don't know what this does. Don't know what you do. Well, I kind of do. I just don't care. Right, we need a folder for Mythic. Because it used to be you just use Compendium, and it would mostly organize all this stuff for you. But now I've got to do it by hand because everyone in the modern world is obsessed with making everything more irritating than it has to be. Pull-out and folding machine is also good for solo play if you've not used it. But I came in here, so also this is another thing we used to be able to do. So back in the day, on the last version of this, I could just go, I want the GMA fantasy deck, and I could drag that and it would come down here. Doesn't work anymore. Why? Who knows? Who knows why? There's now I need to go, okay, right, import entry, whatever, close. Then I go into my stupid folder here, and I go here to here. That was a good bit of design, people. That's let me big clap there for cleverness. But of course, if you weren't told them, I think your new design doesn't work. This is just irritating. Be constructive. Well, it's not my job to make the site. It's your job. Anyway, configuring settings. So that's Mythic GME. And these are cool because you click on these and it gives you the card, right? So cool stuff. OSR character builder, OSR helper modules, OSR shop. So with this, enable the universal shop. Pincushion, PNP pins, share media. Simple weather, tokenizer. So really, yeah, all this is fine. What we should do though is this. If we go upload this information to worlds, OSC general, create a folder, call it assets. So this is what I always do, assets, create a folder, call it uploads, go in here, create a folder, call it portraits, yes, select directory, and then and we'll use the same directory for this. In fact, don't go in here. Go here. Alt copy in here. Alt paste. Oh, look at that. Anywhere else where I need to save? All right. Texture. No, let's see about where it is. Log levels. Yeah. Cool. Weather control. Use Celsius because I'm not a savage. Weather effects. Use weather control. So what I keep on clicking this, but I've never heard the sound come enabled. So let's do that. Uses D&D 5e weather. Oh, my tea's gone cold. Right. And that's that setup. This is the endless joy that we go through. It'd be nice if we got some more decks in here. Some more monster decks would be pretty cool. For different games. So like the Dungeon World's got a really good monster deck. It'd just be nice. So another thing that I normally go and set up is the calendar. Depending on what I'm doing. Quick setup is good, so you can just load in an existing calendar. Often I just use Greyhawk's calendar because most people won't know it, and it's fantasy. It does. Save, yeah. Cool. Now we have a new date. Top bananas. The other thing that I do is, we'll import playlists, import standard, alternate, and bonus loops. Yeah, this is one. So we'll import that into the document list. Then we can come here. Did that wrong. Anyway, here we go. So we've loaded all these in. Really, I'd probably normally only just like pick one. But hey ho, I was silly. Atmosphere. Yeah, atmosphere. Atmosphere. Heroic? Mystical? Oh, we can hear the background. Yay. Let's pick. Oh, and you can't hear the sound because it's not configured to. 1 second, let me do this. Sound. BGM. Maybe I'm just hearing things. Main sound. No? It's weird. That's weird. Should I do this one? Clearly not. It's not having any of it. It's weird. Oh, cool. I don't have any more windows open, do I? Oh god, I've got way too many windows open. Shoot. Those are all gone. Okay. Well, anyway. Atmospheric. Rustic. Druidic swamps. That's a sound, eh? There's this on sound. Oh, there we go. Top bananas. Audio's in place. And yeah, this is normally how we come into the system. And we're all good. Happy days. That's like an hour and I've not managed to do any of the stuff that I was supposed to do. So, yeah, so that's how I normally set up my my foundry instances. So you end up with all this stuff. We can now drag about the sidebar. We can go into here and we can just change between things. We can't, annoyingly, snip stuff and paste it, because modern people just want to make my life more difficult. But on the other hand, I don't really use the copy and paste directly onto the screen as much as I used to, because I don't need to. Why is this not updated? So this I do find is a bit of a problem sometimes. Yeah, there we go. So now all the times are going. Oh, one thing I haven't installed, but I do sometimes, is if we go to here, manage modules, hourglass. This is quite useful sometimes. Save, yeah. So the hourglass, as you might imagine, lets you set up an hourglass. Now, you could do clicky clicky hourglasses or actual time hourglasses, right? So if we went start hourglass, an hourglass would appear. This is cool if you want to do some time tension, right? If you go, yeah, if you are going to use puzzles, maybe this is an interesting wee tool for you to have. So I often install this. Also, if you're doing solo stuff, give yourself a time limit, make yourself make decisions fast. So that's why I often have hourglass installed. Okay. And it's done. And you can set up like alerts and stuff around it. So it's pretty cool. Dungeon Drawer is something else that I had installed. So Dungeon Drawer is good if you are going to be kind of randomly generating your dungeon on the fly or showing it to the players on the fly. And you can, like so, right? Set it up. And yeah, do the do. Pretty straightforward. Now, it can get confused, and it can explode. So it works. Use with caution though, because weird things can happen and do happen. So yeah, but it's cool. I use on occasion, particularly before I really got into using for physical props and Tailspire. I would use that a lot when I was doing the procedural work, but what I started doing, of course, was I was starting to make my players draw their own maps more recently. So like over the last year in games that were kind of crawly, I would have them draw the maps themselves, which is where my love of remarkably simple square rooms started, right? People often go, why are all the rooms so large and why are they all so square? Well, A, they need to be large so you can have fights in them. Duh. B, they're often very square because it's far easier to describe. And everyone appreciates it, right? The player who has to draw the map appreciates it, and I appreciate it because it makes it easier to describe. They appreciate it because it's easier to draw. And so that's why lots of more traditional maps are kind of ugly, kind of weird looking, and kind of square. Because of that, it's easier to describe it's easier to describe a room with 4 walls and 2 doors than it is to describe a weird wall, a weird room with a slanty bit and a little knobbly bit over there, and you get the picture. So it's very much kind of like how the game experience theory then influences the design theory of maps. You know, if you're playing on a tabletop or with a physical map that you just show the players, then having weird and exciting shaped maps is far easier. I'd still argue that paying too much attention to real world logical consistency of dungeons, regardless of a type, is often a bad idea. Particularly when you're talking about like mystical underworld dungeons. Maybe not so much a castle, right? Castle should probably make some sense, but unless your like mega dungeon has a aircraft hangar, a nuclear power reactor, the 9 hells and floating islands, you ain't doing it right. It's not right. It needs to be a level with aliens and space lasers. Otherwise, you're just doing it wrong. That's my view on it. I can't remember what this wand is. Anyway, it doesn't know either. SC brings up a simple calendar. I think this is pretty much everything. The one last thing I was going to show is sketch tiles. So these are sketch tiles. Settings, background color. Let's give it a background color. Otherwise, things get a bit weird. Right. So if we went like so, and we went upload, this gets put on the map, right? So that's pretty cool, because you could be like, oh, well, you find a rune, it looks like this, right? Or, aha, look, you find a rune, it looks like this, right? That one I didn't put a background on, so that's kind of annoying. But you see what I mean, right? It's pretty cool. I think it's nifty. It's a nice little gimmick. Also, I also think that because of the kind of broad simplicity of how it works, alright, save as default, right? So if we just make that kind of like a default color, configure default, yeah, because it's kind of easy to just go, oh look, okay, right. So you see this thing, and it's kind of like a stone tablet on the ground, and it's got kind of like, you know, weird signs on it, and excuse me, I'm colorblind, so that's it, right? And it's kind of in the grass, right? And you know, like so, right? And yeah, there you go. That's a thing, and it's on the map, and it's physical, and it's there, and I think that's really, really, really cool. I like it. I think it's really nifty. I think this might be one of the things that I use the least, but I wish I used it a lot more, because I think it's really cool. Yeah, okay, and that's like the last thing that I was going to show, and I've already shown you creating bounding tiles and all that kind of noise, so I don't think we need to show it to you again. But what I will do is I'll delete this nonsense. Get off my computer. Cool. So the first thing we should probably do is also create a journal entry, and we'll go revisiting keep on the Borderlands. Right. Happy days. So the first thing, and this is the one that I've done some work on, but it needs a lot of work because it's ugly. It's really, really ugly. It's really bad. Is the faction map. So if we go, well, I won't say map. The faction matrix, obsidian, and obsidian, yeah. So this here is what I was faffing about with, right? Now, what I mean is, look how hideous this is. And I've not managed to think of a way of making it not hideous. What I've actually thought about is splitting it into overworld and underworld, but really almost all of this stuff is overworld. So, but the other thing I was thinking is maybe removing some, so I've got like the evil priest in here. I've got the shrine of chaos. I've got like the spiders. I think maybe we could like remove the, but you see, I did some stuff around the spiders. I tied the spiders and the hermits together. So, what would be, if you look down here, I is indifferent, M will offer work as mercenaries, afraid of, E just eats. So the spiders hate the keep. They hate lizard men. I should probably try to change those to E's, to be frank. X, capital X. I think I forgot. I didn't put anything down for capital. Oh no, right. X is, yeah, it's themselves, right? E, eats kobolds, eats orcs, eats goblins, is afraid of ogres. They eat hobgoblins. They avoid the owlbear. They eat bugbears. And they don't know about the minotaur. They eat gnolls. They don't know about the Shrine of Chaos. And they don't know about the evil priest. Right? So that's kind of how you read this table. And this really came from the fact we wanted to think about how the different factions might interact to start with. Mostly due to the orcs, right? So they hate the keep, they hate lizard men, they avoid the spiders, they're actively hostile at the moment for kobolds. They're in a truce with the other orc faction. They're in a truce with the goblins. They have an alliance with the ogre. They avoid the ogre. They have a truce with the hobgoblins. They avoid the owlbear. They hate the bugbears. They avoid the minotaur. They hate the gnolls, and they'll mercenary themselves out to the shrine of chaos, and they don't know about the evil priest. Right, so you kind of get the other orcs are the same, but you start to see kind of like here how we can hopefully make these interactions a bit more interesting. And again, like we were saying, there's no gradiating scale to the. Sometimes I get confused as to where my mouse is. It's various. Okay. So let's add a page of factions, right? Factions. And let's add a table to start with. Insert a table. I don't know. Well, it starts off at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Which is a lot. The thing is there a sensible way that we can, let's just call this 10 by 10 for now. Is there a nice, sensible way to break down these factions, right? We can remove the keep from the list, right? So we can separate, lawful and chaos. Also separate the natural from the unnatural, but separate the beasts, right? So they can be handled separately, especially where they are just especially where they are just beasts. So the beasts are owlbears, spiders. Yeah, so the owlbears and spiders. So we can remove the owlbear and the spiders from the list, right? From list. If we remove the keep from the list and just assume all of the chaotic forces are hostile to the keep. So we assume all forces are hostile to the keep. We could probably remove the hermit and the evil priest. Remove hermit and evil priest, as their relations aren't going to change, right? And handle in box text, so we can sort them out on their own. Then what we've done, we removed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 options from this list. Because of their correlation between the hobgoblins and the goblins, we could probably treat hobgoblins and the goblins as a single tribe. Treat hobgoblins and goblins as a single faction. So that reduces that. And then we can separate off the raiders as well, because they're kind of more of an instance. Separate raiders off as their own box text again. So where we just go box text, we'll deal with them separately, right, as their own entry somewhere. Annoyingly, my spell checker doesn't right click in here, so in fact no right clicking works in here, so that's great. I love that. Love it. Let's go to a spell checker. How am I supposed to spell this? S-E-P-A-R-A-T-E. A-R-A-T-E. A-R-A-T-E. There we go. So this now means that we've got to deal with on this page, we're dealing with the lizardmen, the kobolds, the 2 orc groups, the ogre, goblin, hobgoblin, bugbears, gnolls, and the shrine of chaos. Right? And that's what we're dealing with. Lizardmen, kobolds, yeah. 2 orc tribes, yeah. The goblins and hobgoblins as one, because their settlements are, their layers are interlinked and they co-support. 2 orcs, goblinoids, ogre, bugbears. I always wonder about bugbears. Angry little creatures are bugbears. A bugbear is a legendary creature of a type of hobgoblin, comparable to bogeymen, fair enough, and other creatures of folklore. So I could work alongside. Where's the hobgoblin layer? Let's have a quick look. Hobgoblin layer. So yeah, and this is the Caves of Chaos. The other thing we've got to think about are the Caves of the Unknown. Kobold layer. Hobgoblin lair, F. No, so we know that one. So the bugbear lair is what we're talking about. Where is it in relation to bugbear lair? H. So where is H in we putting it out, here we go. Let's just have a look here. So where's H? So this is the main goblin starting point, right? And it links up to the hobgoblins, who I think are around here, right? F, and that's, so this is F for the hobgoblins, D for goblins, E for the ogre, H all the way over here. So that's where the bugbears are. Next to the orcs. So they're definitely almost certainly going to be having a bit of a Barney with each other. Okay, but maybe we can treat all three. Because what I really think we've got going on is that these two are coexisting as kind of an alliance, and they probably. We almost certainly have a relationship with the bugbears. The question is what kind of relationship? What did we put on our original bugbears? So we had bugbears relationship with the goblins. Oh right, so we had them down as hate the goblins and hate the hobgoblins. Whereas I think they're probably I think the bugbears are more likely to be working with the put the bugbears down here as a plus right now, right? Bugbears. It's just their distance gives them a bit of a problem, and their proximity to the orcs. Because the squares in here are 10-foot squares, right? So the orc entrance and the bugbear, although the bugbears are hidden in their thicket. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So they're 100 foot away. It's not too far. Not too far at all. So they're almost certainly in each other's business quite a bit. So I would probably... The interesting thing is, yeah, these three factions and these two orc factions, right? And we know these two orc factions are kind of helping each other out. But then you've got the kobolds down here, and then I think we're like gnolls are over here somewhere. You can definitely see that they were only pondering the notion of dungeon ecosystems at this point, as opposed to really thinking about them in a cohesive fashion. So it's far more the idea that D and A are in theory, the easiest starting points. But if you've ever run this and started off the Barney, you will quickly realise that 50 kobolds versus 6 level 1 characters is a problem. Quite a big problem. Anyway, so just like if we were going to go, so there's a relationship. Where was let's just double check where the knolls are, shall we? Knolls. The gnolls. Hobgoblins, ogre, owlbears, bugbears. For minotaur, gnolls, J. So J. Pretty sure that is one over here, right? Here. So it's like kind of. That's one relationship, right? This is kind of a trio of definite relationships that you've got. You've got these two, C and B, that are a relationship. And the K is the evil temple. G are the owlbears. A have some kind of vague relationship with the Minotaur. I think that's the main way they exist, right? Is that they feed people to the Minotaur. But the Minotaur doesn't really leave its area, because if it did, it would be a really big problem. A really, really big problem. Massive problem. Unless you've got your rod of paralysis, in which case, haha. So this is a really painful connection. So I kind of feel that H and J are very much. I kind of felt that H and J are mercenaries that work for the highest paying faction, right? So they'll work with anybody as long as you pay enough. Because they don't really work, these can't support each other in any meaningful way during an incursion. If you failed at incurring into an area, they might be able to help. And so they bolster the other side. Anyway. We'll have them as their standalone factions, right? So the bugbears and the gnolls are still their thingy. And for this starting version, we'll just go... let's also give them some tribe names, right? How do we want to go about that? Markov chains? Maybe. I think so. Let's use Markov chains. I already got a new window. I do. Let me just check Discord for a moment. That's V stream telling me that the thing's going on. How exciting! Bugbears, Markov chains, I don't want them explained. I want a tool. I want a tool to do them. Markov chains. Generator. Is this one good? No. Is this one good? I used to have one that I use all the time. But unfortunately, a new computer. So, this one? No. This one? Nope. No. Is it this one? Oh, that might be it. Are you good? Yes, this is for one. Let me to open up Chrome 2 and set this to this. Yay! Funny shaped windows, funny shaped. Chrome 2. There we go. So the thing that you can do here is we can go to settings and we can pick some stuff. So if we just pick Roman place names, okay. And then how about Tolkien-esque forenames? Yeah, it's probably good. And let's turn off animals. And then we set this. I like to set this to 1. And then I like to turn that on, and let's generate. And then we've got some names. Cactus. Cactus run. So that's their name. Cactus run. Lizardman. Stick that in so we remember. So this is their group name. I won't think about the complexities of how their societies are built right now. This is only supposed to be a starting adventure. The kobolds. Let's go for Oris. Let's go for that. Of course, annoyingly, I've done it one way round down here, and I've done it the other way round up there. So, let's cut this. Donk. Next, we've got for 2 orc groups. So, what are we going to do with the orc groups? Oh, I should probably. You don't need to see the second screen now. So, make this vanish, and we don't need to see the camo capture either. Make that vanish. Here we go. Well, that's done that because okay. Yeah, no problem. I, on the other hand, do need to see this. So we'll have the Bagol orcs. Control Z. So one orc group will be the Bagel Fist. Right. And an interesting thing here, an increase fear. 4. Why are you now doing that? You weren't doing that before. Ah, that's why. Sidorium. Carnage. The other orcs. take you. Uh-oh. Control Z. Let's take this one. The Gold Fists and the Satorium Carnage. Let's take them. And the Ogre is just the Ogre. Actually, I don't think there's much point in putting the Ogre on here. I think the Ogre should be dealt with by box text as well. Box text, right. So the Ogres basically will work as a mercenary for anybody. For Goblins and Hobgoblins, let's go for Navior. Navior's Rage. Right. Nope. Goblin, Hobgoblin. Hobgoblin. Like so. So I quite like using Markov chains because they let you kind of not fall back on just tropes. Bugbears. Carrying. Control Z. It's clear you need to do it afterwards. Calcarin. That sounds good. For Calcarin. There we go, like so. 3 more. Have we got any 3 more left? We pretty much do. The Knolls. Let's give him let's give him something I can probably pronounce. Frandil. Frandil. Knolls. And then the Shrine of Chaos, so I can just stay as it is, right? Frandil. And then the Shrine of Chaos. Right? And most of the other things we're going to deal with in box text. In fact, when we've got Carnage and Fist, how about we just get rid of that and we just have Bagol and Sadorian. Instead of Navior. Like so. Yeah, I feel that's more. Get rid of Castellan. The Castor. I'll leave Ken on the end of that. Fists. Rage. Get rid of the Possessive off the end of that. Yeah. Yeah, I like that. This seems cool. And we don't need this last line just yet. So the Lizardman, and let's try and limit it. So just hostile, blank. Oh, we don't have the well, again, because it's box text for the Minotaur. Box text. Because they're not so much a faction as they are just an element to be dealt with or ran away from. So Lizardmen along is the Fist faction's view. So hostile. Oh, in fact, if I'm starting, I should start from here. So the Katas are hostile to the Oris Ken. They're hostile to the Bagol, they're hostile to the Sidorium, they're hostile to the Goblins, they're hostile to the Bugbears, they're hostile to the Fandrill, and they're hostile towards the Shrine of Chaos. So that makes this line easy to make as well. Hostile, hostile, hostile. In fact, I would say they don't know that the Shrine of Chaos exists. Right? Yeah, that looks good. Hostile, hostile, hostile. I also feel there's probably an element of possibly... No, Minotaurs are bulls. The Oris Ken are... we also are neutral to the orcs at the moment. They're hostile to the goblins. They're hostile to the bugbears. And they are allies with the Fandrill. And they'll mercenary out to the Shrine of Chaos. Right? So we're going to end up with 4, maybe 5 categories. The Bagol. So they are hostile to the Oris Ken. They are in alliance with the Sidorium. They are hostile to the Navior. They're neutral to the Kalkurin. They are hostile to the Fandrill, and they'll mercenary themselves out to the... So basically the M's here are so as they get eliminated by the party, they might move across into a shrine. Or they can end up working for a shrine anyway. Or this relation, I feel that this relationship is probably one that they might want to play with as well. Also, these are breaking down these alliances, right? So there's also, I think we should probably have a separate section just for the relationship between the two different, the goblins and the hobgoblins. Because they are in an alliance, but I feel like that could probably be played with, right? The Sadorium, let's just say that they are, so they're the one, if they're the ones further, but also they're actually neutral with the kobolds. Yeah, this could be cool. So they're neutral with the kobolds, they're allied with these. Well, remember, this is a secret alliance, right? They are hostile with the goblins, and they're hostile with the bugbears, but they're neutral with the gnolls, and they will mercenary themselves. In fact, maybe these ones, because this will be the... They'll mercenary themselves out, but this lot are aligned with them. Yeah? Yeah. So, the goblins, hostile to the kobolds, right? I presume the kobolds are hostile to them? Yeah. They're neutral towards the... Oh no, they're hostile towards the orcs. Well, they're hostile to one group of orcs and neutral with the other group of orcs. So they're hostile to... So this is the Bagol. And the Bagol are... These are the Navior. The Bagol are hostile to the Navior. So hostile. The Sedorium are hostile to them. Kalkurin. They'll mercenary out for Kalkurin. Fandrill. They're neutral towards Fandrill. And they'll mercenary sell themselves out to the them. Kalkurin, the bugbears, So they're hostile to so one of the orcs are hostile to them, right? Sandorium versus. It's just where having like a decent piece of software is useful. Bagol. So how do people feel about the Kaken? Katas is hostile. Yeah, we know that. Oris is hostile. Cool. The Bagol are neutral. The Sandarin are hostile. Helps with putting on a run. Hostile. The Navior mercenaries. Fandil are. We don't know yet. Knolls. I think they're probably hostile. Shrine of Chaos, fell mercenary too. And I think probably the place where you're probably most able to exploit some of these relationships will be where they're being mercenaries for other groups. But we'll see what the players come up with, right? And players are players, and players are always smarter than GMs. They find amazing ways to get themselves into trouble. So the Fandil, with this one, are hostile, they are allied, they're hostile, they're neutral, hostile, and they will mercenary themselves out to the Shrine of Chaos. And then M. Like so. So we know that the Senegin are hostile to the Kalkarin. The Kalkarin are neutral to the Bagol. Fandril are willing to be mercenaries to the Shrines of Chaos, right? Okay. Should we add in an attitude marker on here? Probably not. I think they'll probably have a negative attitude towards each other, which allows them all to be exploited. And they're all hostile to the keep, right? Because they're all chaos. So, all are hostile to the keep. They are all chaos factions. Relations between the goblins and hobgoblins are always strained, as for hobgoblins bully the goblins. Right. So there's an opportunity there for the players to do something if they so wish. Other than getting goblin slayed by a group of goblins. Because when it comes to things like the owlbears and the spiders, they're beasts and mission objectives, right? We've got all forces are hostile to keep. We've removed the hermits. We've treated them as a single faction. Raiders get their own box text. We've separated beasts out. We've removed the keep from the list. So now we've got the ogre will have its own box text. No, the minotaur will have its own box text. And there we go. So these are the factions on here. We can probably turn each of these into a heading. Heading 4? Oh no, that's a horrible heading. Or does it not do it unless it's all heading 3? Okay, heading 3 will do. Heading 3. Heading 3. Heading 3. Uh-oh. That's not 3. This is This is heading 3. Uh-oh. Heading 3. This is heading 3. Do, 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 do. Heading 3. Because also what we can add in here are the what's the current configuration of the area, right? So also I think this is an opportunity for us to use one of our tactical maps or one of the inbuilt maps for the lizard men, right? But so if we went in here, we went like, let's create a table which is insert 2 by 7, right? There we go. Roll 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Where are the kobolds? And so on a 1, all of the kobolds are in the lair. They are having a celebration. In the main hall. Laughter and shouts and strange music can be heard throughout the lair. Right. 2, we go. A dozen of their member are out on a raid, attacking travelers and traders on the main road to the north. Right. On a free. Kobolds are preparing a large feast. Many of their hunters are out. Hunters, women. Many of our hunters and non-combatants are out foraging for food, right? And so this is kind of the idea, is that every time we'd come in, we'd go, okay, cool. Well, what are the kobolds actually out there doing? What's the event of the day, right? The kobolds are engaged in a battle with the what are they called? What do we call the Navior, right? With the Navior, is it you are? No, I-O-R, Navior. Many of their strongest fighters are on the battlefield. Right? And how you know, it's injured warriors are being taken care of in the largest of the rooms, right? So maybe there's lots of dead dudes in there. We could get an easy run, or we can sneak in, use the chaos. So lots of these give us opportunities to do other stuff. The kobold, there is a delegation from the Frandil. They're here to discuss support. To demand the assistance of the Oris can in some upcoming conflict. There are a number of null guards on site. The kobolds are mostly hiding from them as they are violent and grumpy. 5 something else. So out on a raid, having a large feast, having some discussions. Something else. Small, tasty Oh. Who are they hostile with? Katas. Not with Katas, with Ken. Hostile with Karen. And with Navior. So we could go Navior raid on the layer. There's intense fighting. Main hall as the Navior are raiding to capture non-combatants. To work in their own layer. Right. That's really nice. There's probably a T in fighting. Cool. And so we go on and make tables like this for all of them, so that when, well, before the characters go, we can like figure out what the kobolds are doing. Might even have a few different tables, because you could imagine, right, where the kobolds, you could have like what's so we take on where the kobolds. I think probably just one table. You could have another table which is like, what's the current defensive stance of the organization? You know, what's a kobold? What are kobolds in the room doing? So we could say have another table. Insert table, and again columns 2 rows 7. Roll. What are kobolds? Kobolds in the room doing? This is just like a flavor table. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Playing a game. So, dice, bones, cards. 1 to 2 dice, 3 to 4 bones, 5 to 6 cards. Right. Eating a meal, preparing or eating a meal, sleeping. Being watchful and alert. Arguing. Having a nice chat. Right? This kind of goes into the whole... Well, this is where they live, right? We could go here like a... That's going a bit weird. We go talking, we go 1 to 2 arguing, 3 to 4 a nice chat, 5 to 6 laughter and japes, right? That's getting a bit weird. It's weird. 6 6. I kind of combined those into one because I thought I had something else, and clearly whatever it was has just vanished from my mind. Right, yeah. Tending to animals, livestock, children. All the same thing in my mind. Right? Save. So, you see we're starting to build up kind of more material for having a good time in Keep on Borderlands. So, it's been 2 hours, coming on to 4. So I'm going to wrap up here. Thank you very much. I think we'll probably look again at this next week. I think we'll probably embark on Castle Caldwell next week as well. I'll make some characters beforehand so we don't have to watch me make characters again. I might play around with some of it with the idea of starting off with more hit points so that we can have a bit more time in the dungeon, or I might just murder more characters, but in that case you've got to watch me make more characters. And I might this time do more we'll do more stuff with the miniatures as opposed to with the Tailspire, I think, for Castle Caldwell. And yeah, cool. Very exciting. Thank you very much, human beings. I hope you've all had a great time, and I'll slime you later. Farewell, fairy doos. Bye bye. Have fun. So long.